there's a warning tonight that just about every individual in a city like Hamilton could feel the pain from President Donald Trump's 25% tariffs on Canadian steel. There's also another warning that Americans should think twice about tariffs if they want to keep their lights on. Al Sweeney is covering the story for us today and joins us live from Hamilton's industrial area with more. Al.
Matt, Premier Doug Ford was in Washington today, where he made a point of talking about Ontario electricity powering parts of the U.S. He says it could reach as far south as Florida, or it wouldn't be difficult to turn off the switch. At the spearhead of Canada's anti-tariff campaign, Premier Doug Ford warned again today about Ontario cutting off electricity to the U.S. if tariff talks go badly.
In just a moment's notice, we can flick on the switch or flick off the switch.
With Prime Minister Trudeau also promising to fight for Canada.
We will stand up for Canadian workers. We will stand up for Canadian industries.
Ford was in Washington as head of the Council of Canadian Premiers. Instead of retaliation over Trump's tariffs, he wants Canada and the U.S. to work together in what he calls Fortress AMCAN.
Fortress AMCAN is a renewed alliance between America and Canada that's a beacon of stability, security, and long-term economic growth.
But Trump is accusing Canada and other countries of disregarding American limits on steel shipments under the former administration of President Biden. In his executive order on tariffs, entitled Adjusting Imports of Steel into the United States, Trump says the U.S. domestic industry's performance has been depressed by the foreign shipments which threaten to impair U.S. national security. A White House official says the tariffs are needed so the U.S. has its own steel and aluminum producers to build tanks and warships without relying on other countries.
So that this country, if we have any kind of crisis, will have the ability to defend itself.
That's despite President Trump's repeated focus on making Canada and its industry part of the U.S.
That's why Canada should be our 51st state.
If the tariffs go ahead, the Canadian Chamber of Commerce says Ontario steel and manufacturing cities like Hamilton, Brantford, St. Catharines, and Windsor would be among the most vulnerable. Hamilton's Chamber of Commerce says with tens of thousands of jobs at risk, individual incomes could be hurt by over $1,900 a year.
When you look at household incomes, people being impacted by $2,000, everybody's going to be impacted if these tariffs impact jobs.
Ask the people of Hamilton. Ask them if it's important that I'm down here.
Premier Doug Ford says it's critical to get the Canadian story out in Washington, hoping for a solution.
There's no secret. President Trump is probably one of the best negotiators in the world. This is his area of expertise, but we need to sit down. Premier Ford's visit to Washington is just the start of this latest effort. All 13 provincial and territorial premiers plan to blitz American decision makers tomorrow, starting at 7 o'clock in the morning.